Hi, Leslie Koo here. Ukraine will never join NATO. This is one of the major conditions that Putin wants in terms of ceasefire. Then how can Putin make sure that Ukraine will never do that or can never do that 3 years down the road? Just paper agreements? Well, Putin is a smart man. Know what happened the last time when NATO promised Soviet Union not to move east. So now, what are the options that Putin has in order to make sure that Ukraine can never join NATO? Now there is Zelensky. Who knows, few years down the road, Zelensky 2, an enhanced version, come back. It's like the Terminator movie. At first, T-800, then later T-1000, return from the future. So, what are the options that Putin must have in order to execute that Ukraine can never join NATO, or not even thinking of joining NATO in the future? Well, like I said before, agreements on paper is flimsy. There must be real constraint for Putin to put in place so that Ukraine cannot even think about joining NATO or similar organizations that Russia sees as a threat. Okay, option 1. Russia take over the military of Ukraine, meaning Ukraine has no soldiers or armies of its own. Russia will take care of that. And then option 2, Russia set up military bases in Ukraine. So Ukraine has its own soldiers, armies, but at the same time, Russia has military bases in Ukraine. It's something like the US has military bases in Japan and in South Korea. This is similar to option 1, and it serves the same purpose. So any proposals come in to Ukraine, I don't think it can even reach the doorstep of Ukraine before Russia killed it off. Option 3, NATO no longer exists. If NATO doesn't exist, there's none organizations that the future leaders of Ukraine will propose to join. Now, you will think that when will this happen? What is the likelihood that this will happen, like NATO will no longer exist? Well, the Europeans and the British, at a time when they want to have 100% say on their own foreign policies, like in the pre-war era, and no more noises, white noises here and there from across the Atlantic Oceans. So, when that happens, NATO can no longer exist. And maybe the Europeans and the British set up something similar, but without the US. And I think when that happens, these new organizations, or NATO similar organizations, the risk of having similar aggressions or strategy like NATO towards Russia, I reckon is way lower. And recently, I believe the Europeans and the British have become, or rather have a deeper understanding of what the former US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger said before. Be America's enemy is dangerous, but be America's friend is fatal. On the whole, like I said, paper agreements is flimsy. Putin must have real constraint on Ukraine in order to make sure that Ukraine will not join NATO or any similar organizations in the future. So, and of course, option 1 and 2 will not go down well with the US or maybe with the West country as well. But the thing is, like, without real constraint and just paper agreements, it is very hard for Putin to make sure that Ukraine will never and can never join NATO or similar organization in the future. Okay, that's all for this video. See you in the next one. Cheers!